Welcome to the Tara Talk Podcast, a place for honest and open conversations to support you in living your best life from the inside out. Join me on this journey of self-discovery as we explore what it means to reach next level badassery and cut through the BS. So tune in, stay a while, and I promise I'll be right here alongside you as we figure this shit out together.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Claire Bays. Wow, it's so beautiful to see you here.
Tara La Ferrara.
Say it again.
It's my favorite thing. I have no idea if I'm doing it right. Tara La Ferrara.
Say it
Ferrara.
again.
Now I know I messed it up, but I love it.
So, okay, it's Tara La Ferrara, but Tara La Ferrara also.
Yeah.
Which one's easier for you?
I just like repeating it, and
Yeah.
every time I repeat it, something different comes out. So I like doing it multiple times. I don't think I ever
appreciate that,
say,
actually.
I'll maybe say Tara. Maybe. But then from there, then they're like, Tara who? And I'm like, La Ferrara, La Ferrara. And then I just keep going.
Do they know who you're talking about when you say it like
Most of the time, yes.
Claire Bays, though. What a name.
You're famous, okay?
You're famous
Whatever.
in my world.
It's fine.
Claire Bays. What's your middle name?
Savannah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I actually have a barbell. Ooh, we could take this straight to the
getting into
alcoholism
it.
journey. But anyway, I definitely have a barbell that has Claire Savannah on it.
Okay.
And I ordered it at roughly 3 a.m. You can imagine what kind of state you're in then. And I'm like, these are interesting, whenever. This was many years ago.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting purchase for someone to make at that time of night.
Yeah.
And I woke the next day and was like, should I cancel that? No, actually, that's great.
Like a
So-
barbell? Like, where is the name on it?
It's on the middle. You can customize barbells. So it's a
Oh, I didn't
Rogue.
even
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
actually sick.
It's a great barbell. I
Yeah.
did a great job. I customized the colorway,
Yeah.
truly, thoroughly happy with it all these years
Wow.
later.
Claire Savannah.
Yeah, one of the few good decisions there, right?
Welcome to the show. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here. I
Thank
so
you for
appreciate
having me.
you. A few weeks ago, I guess it's been a couple months now, maybe a month or so, I was on your podcast. So I really wanted you on mine because I feel like we're still kind of getting to know each other a little bit. But when I was on yours, you were asking me a lot of questions. So here I am putting you in the hot seat. I want to learn more about you.
Yeah.
I want my audience to hear more of your story and just who you are as a human.
Yeah. I think it's so cool that you're doing a podcast. I'm stoked because I just love every exposure that I've gotten to you, which was largely in short form. I mean, collectively, if you, the time that I've known of you,
Yeah.
we get these brief, we talked about it already on mine, but we get these brief passings in the gym and we're in the middle of things with other people, whatever. And so after my podcast, we did the walk, which was cool to get more interaction. But I just think you're wonderful. So the idea that there's now this long format, being that I've done this podcast thing for a little while, I love the capsule. We talked about that, but it's so
Yeah.
cool. So I'm just stoked you're doing it because you have a really good message and a great personality, and I just love you.
Thank you so much. But tell people about you. Who is Claire Savannah Bays? Who are you? And what do you want the world to know about you?
Oh, it's like I told one of my mentors yesterday when we were talking about growth of business and use of social media on that journey, right? And I was like, I don't know, I just want to help people move better, feel better. Is that hard to, whatever.
That's great.
So there you go. There it is. I am from Oklahoma originally and born and raised there. I spent the first 30 years of my life in Oklahoma. And so relatively small town growing up.
Yeah.
And with that came introduction to substances at a pretty young age. And I really enjoyed those. And so that was a large part of my life up until nearly 30. And then I moved to Austin, Texas in the summer of 2022. So I've been here for a little over a year and a half now. And it's been the coolest thing. So of course, that's a way brief whatever. So wherever you want to hone in there, we can.
Yeah.
But
who if somebody asked you off the street, who are you? What would you say?
Yeah.
Would you say I'm an Oklahoma girl turned Austinite? Or what would you say?
That'd probably come later. My first thing would be I'm a coach because
Yeah,
I
love it.
finally am a coach. And after all of the resistance to that role that I was just I can't and then I won't and you name it, to finally be fully in it and loving it is very cool.
Yeah.
So as far as I feel like we always describe ourselves by our profession for some reason.
Yeah.
I also am obsessed with my profession, so that's kind of fine
Yeah.
for me. But so yes, I am a coach. I coach people through movement at On It Gym in Austin, Texas. I also run an online coaching business like you. And then I host a podcast as well. So
Amazing. So what about outside of business?
outside of all of those things, what? A life? I don't know. Early bedtime, early wake time.
You are multi-passionate,
Yeah.
you have a lot of things and you're so creative and you have so much personality. And so I love that you are, first of all, that you're a coach now and that you're saying that word. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's from that resistance to now. But who are you outside of that?
Yeah. Outside of that, I have year over year become more boring and I love it.
Okay.
So if we do take this back and now we can kind of settle into something maybe a bit more real, right?
Sure.
But not that that is not, but maybe a little less fun. I was so desperate growing up and in young adulthood to be loved, right? We all want to be loved. I still want to be loved. I'm not under the delusion that that is just gone from me whatsoever. Are you kidding me? I love it. But I utilized substances to kind of make myself more the social lubricant, things like that. And so where am I even going? I'm so sorry. This is what happens when you come straight from a workout.
It's okay. You wanted to feel loved and you found the love through substance. So tell me more about
More boring today. There we go. So my life today looks a lot more simple. I feel that, or it feels more peaceful is maybe more appropriate. Like it used to be a lot more like grandiose, a lot more crazy events, lots of travel, things like that. And today it looks like waking up early, writing my gratitudes, doing my prayer, reading a book because I love reading books today. And as someone who did not read books until she was 29, that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
I love listening to podcasts. I hang out with my best friends on YouTube. As in, like, most of these people don't know me, although some of them do.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait a second. Is there a YouTube live or something?
No. I mean, there probably is.
Yeah.
No, I joke around and say, because obviously you mentioned this on my podcast about one of the first things you would encourage somebody to take a look at if they were looking to optimize their life was like their surroundings, right? They're the 5 people around them thing. And so I jokingly refer to like my besties as like half of my besties don't even know my name, because I'm very conscious of who am I hanging out with? And thanks to podcasts, YouTube, all these different things we have access to, I get to hang out with these high level people, even if they don't know me back, So those are things that I do for fun. I am definitely super involved in recovery. That's a big part of my life. And I don't know. It's pretty vibrant. I'm at the gym a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's a community focused gym.
Yeah.
You are also a member there, which I love. And so I get my cups filled there. And so, really day over day, there's a lot of, like this evening, I'm going to go to an event that's within the weapons industry. So I do a lot of random things, I suppose.
Weapons industry.
Yeah. There's like a range that's opening up nearby. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So I guess it's probably pretty diverse, but early riser, love my alone time.
Yeah.
And early to bed.
Yeah.
Eat the same stuff all the time. It's nice and easy.
Boring is good though.
I
A lot of
love
people
it.
think that's such a negative thing, but it's like, and also what is boring?
Right.
It's very subjective to each person. And so like that can be something that you really enjoy, but it's like just a part of your lifestyle. It's your routine and you like it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be like boring bad. It's like boring good. I wanted this.
Yep.
Could you see your life like this 5 years ago?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And it wouldn't have been because I didn't desire it.
Yeah.
Because I look at my life today and I'm regularly like overwhelmed with gratitude. And I'm just like, this is crazy that this is my life.
Yeah.
Could I have seen myself here? No. Just because I was dealing with my own struggles that really didn't allow me to step into some authenticity. I 5 years ago, I had not spent time inside of my own brain for even a few minutes of a day for I don't know how long. And so I did not know myself very well at all and was running away from my problems through numbing through a variety of different things. And so, no, I could not have seen it like this whatsoever. Not that it wouldn't have been something that I would have wanted, but I wasn't yet the person who belonged in rooms I get to belong in now.
Yeah.
I had to go through that.
Recovery is a huge part of your journey. And I'd love to share or like hear more about your story. And if you're open to it, kind of sharing your experience of substance and how you've kind of gotten to where you are today.
Yeah, it is so cool. It's like, I think it's the coolest thing about me. Like, I think it's the coolest thing I get to experience.
Yeah.
I started drinking alcohol when I was 13. First time I ever consumed alcohol, it was a very, very cheap vodka and I blacked out. And where I lived, there wasn't a lot to do. It's a relatively small town, and I had a lot of hours to do whatever I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And hanging out with older kids was cool, right? And I had the opportunity to do that. And so I hung around an older crowd, and felt so cool for doing it. And they drank, and so I drank. And I did not grow up, and like my mother and father did not drink really when I grew up, and I'm very grateful for that. It's all over my family in other areas, but I didn't grow up like witnessing it, and have so much gratitude for that. But so there was no conversation around, like, that was alcoholism wasn't something that you spoke about. So anyway, I was just having fun. It happened around the time that I hit puberty. And so it was perfectly in alignment from where I go from this like really odd, ugly duckling that like a no boy would ever speak to like now, not only am I like kind of cute-ish, and I'm also fun. I have like my personality has really taken flight in a different way. And so it was a social lubricant. So anyway, and of course, when you're that young, you're not really making enough messes yet that there's much repercussions. And then year over year, it finally started to like pile up, and now it started to become an escape thing from reality in a way to like, okay, life is getting stressful, you name it. I'm a ticking time bomb until I need to kind of soothe again. And that was my drug of choice, I suppose. So anyway, it really hit ahead whenever I was 28 years old. I am still living in Oklahoma. I am a real estate agent at that point. I'd been a real estate agent for probably about 5 years at that point. And I had a successful career, and I even really enjoyed that career. Very fond of it. And so, but I compartmentalized my life a lot at that time because I had this problem. And I could tell you at that time, like by then I could say, I have a substance abuse problem, but I couldn't tell you I was an alcoholic because that just I didn't have enough awareness. That didn't work for me, right? So anyway, my grandmother passes away. She had the largest hand in raising me. She was very involved. And so she passed away, and it was my first exposure to grief and in that like close proximity. And I simply was like, I'm not doing this. I've heard of this. This seems awful. I'm opting out. So for the first week following her passing, and it was sudden, no matter how they pass, it's never comfy. And I'm grateful she lived a very full life right up until the very end. Like that's exactly how she wanted it to go. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to introduce people to her through me because she was the best spirit I've ever met. What a gift, right? And so for the first week, I dealt with the things that you deal with following someone's death. And so went home and did the things because I'm a doer and that's what I do. And then once that was done, I drove away and said, and now I'm opting out. And so then for the next 2 months of my life, I really took it from already having a lot of experiences. And when you are somebody who just doesn't interact with that normally, like you like things happen and you're like, that's not me. I would never do that. That's what? But then you're kind of a time bomb until something happens again and you need a solution. And so no awareness around any of that. Just that's the life that I lived. And 2 months later, after her passing, I got into a situation that was bad enough. And the feature for me that worked, that got me to take a look at doing life differently, because I had actually I found journals. I had been journaling about desiring stopping drinking alcohol or reducing or something for years, but I didn't know how. And maybe I could kind of reel it back in a bit here or there. I would not drink on the Wine Wednesday night because I knew that who knows what's going to happen with me. So I just need to abstain in that moment. But I didn't know. And so event occurs, and it was the public humiliation in that situation. So I wind up in a situation I don't want to be in. I don't know how I got here. I've blacked out again, which was very normal for me all throughout those years. And I wake up in a situation I don't want to be in. I'm being physically assaulted, and that girl had a right to be upset with me. And I have, like, to this day, I just have love for, like, I have so much gratitude for that being like getting exposure to what it took. And I'm so sorry. And I'll always be so sorry about that whole thing. But anyway, so I wake up and I'm in a situation I don't want to be in, and it's recorded. So it's put on the internet. And so then people, finally, I can't compartmentalize anymore. Everyone's watching my like biggest downfall, right? And so all of these years I've been living and operating from a place of, I just need you to love me. I'll be as fun as you want me to be, as long as you want me to be there, and we'll do whatever because I just need you to love me. And now all of a sudden, I no longer have your approval. And so that was what it took for me to look in the mirror and go, I don't even recognize her. I don't like her. I don't trust her. I don't know her. And so then I got involved in therapy and in a recovery program, and that really gave me a new set of tools.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
thank you for sharing your story.
Totally.
Thank you for being vulnerable and honest. I'm sure a lot of people can hear that story and hear some part of someone else's story or can relate to it in some way. And
Yep.
that is 15 years
Hmm.
is what it sounds like for me.
You got it exactly right.
13 to 28. It's like, do you ever think back about those years and are grateful for being here today and getting through all of that?
Yeah. So I have a coaching group. We meet once a week on Mondays on a call, and one of the members that can't make it will often submit, like, can't make it to the call live, but she wants to be engaged, and we record them and upload them later anyway. So she submits questions often that she wants answered, and then I'll answer them on the call and then upload it. She can watch it back with the people that were able to be there live.
Right.
One of her questions this Monday was, what do you do to stay inspired, to show up to, week over week, to be the version of you that's here now?
Yeah. Love
What
that.
are the things what are the tools that you use? What is something that you like? What are you thinking about that motivates you to continue?
Yeah.
And of course, the tools were things like prayer and so on, which, by the way, I did not do up until getting into recovery. But I told her the truth is, like, we all have our own variation of stuff that we've been through. This is just my flavor of it. But I feel so grateful to still be here because I'm amazed after that 15-year journey that you talk about. Like, obviously, there are many things that occurred throughout those years that were dangerous. Yeah. And there are many times in which I can reflect upon and go, how did I make it to the other side? Yeah. And so tremendous gratitude. So, like, I wake every day with this, I can't squander the opportunity. I feel like still being here, breathing air, is an opportunity. And so squandering it doesn't work for me. Right. And so it's just so, you're right. Like, that's something that really gets me going every single day, is just like, I got a new lease on life. Yeah. I don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also super powerful that you say that. It's like, you said you got really excited when I asked you about it, because you're like, I love this part of me. And a lot of people are like, feel shameful or guilty or sad based on who they were. But like, this is a huge part of your life, and you are able to come out on the other side and help and inspire other people. Yep. Which is just so powerful to, like, be a part of your journey.
Yeah, it's an interesting disease. It impacts pretty much everybody, because whether it's you suffering in some way, it's probably at least somebody that you care about. Yeah. So it's a big deal, and I have to be careful because I can't pretend to understand everybody's stuff by any means. But I can say that for anybody who's struggling with that sort of thing, who doesn't know of resources, I always like to throw out there that, like, I'm more than happy to share the resources that I know about. And so that's just kind of a disclaimer, or like a moment here to say that if anyone wants to reach out to me directly, I'm sure we'll share later, like, how to do so. Yeah. And I would be happy to have that conversation, because there's something unique about relating to somebody who kind of understands. It's just like why your demographic of people that you coach often looks like somebody that you really, like, relate to. Right. So it's kind of the same concept there. So I always am happy to be a resource there. But yeah, like, I understand the shame. It's been a very shameful thing for a very long time. But, the deeper I get into it, the more I take a look at codependency and love addiction. And there's so many different flavors of how we deal with life, Yeah. And so, yes, that was a big one for me, and getting that out of the way now lets me look at all the other stuff that I get to work on.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like, I am so grateful somebody told me there was another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there other people that did tell you there was another way and you just didn't believe them, or weren't right in the right mind space?
That's a great question. People would at times communicate to me that I had, like, overshot the mark. But really like, my surroundings were very similar to me, like, you kind of hang out with the people that do what you do. So I had exposure to a couple of people that I was aware were sober. And so then whenever I finally made the decision, like, I have got to reach out to get help and I don't know where to go, that I did know these two specific individuals were sober people that were openly sober and so on. And so I reached out to them and said, like, what do you do? Yeah. And then they gave me some direct instructions that have been very useful, and I use them every day ever.
But that was when you were really ready to make the change.
Totally. Yeah. So could there have been moments memory is an interesting thing because like half of it's fabricated, right? So
Very true.
it's tough to say. It's kind of like how many years had I been going to the gym when maybe somebody was trying to tell me like, sweetie, if you would apply yourself, you might be better. And I never heard it until finally, 6 or so years into showing up, the right person at the right time said the right phrase to me about how I could get better.
Of course.
And I actually believed them.
Yeah.
And then I got way better.
Yeah.
So had people maybe shared things with me previously, maybe.
Yeah.
I clearly wasn't ready. It took
Right.
that public humiliation for me to go. And that's what's, I think it's so cool here in Austin. We have like so many people here who just like choose to opt out of that. Like drinking alcohol is like very popular. It's very normal, right? And so, and I'm not demonizing it for the way, like that's, by the way, I don't believe that everyone suffers from the same thing I do, like at all. Like everyone chooses their journey, but it's popular here, like sobriety, right?
Yeah.
And so when people don't have to go through some like pretty rough run of it to just arrive there, I'm like, good for you. Like you just want a better quality of life. I love that, but no, it took a real hit to make me go, okay, I need an option.
I think we're also in this really beautiful place of 2024 having mocktails and there's bars opening where it's like alcohol-free things and there's events. And like you said in Austin, it's just really cool that it's not as involved in the community or even in our industry. And it used to be very involved in our industry.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, even to this day, most events that you go to that are in the fitness industry, there's typically some form of, whether it's beers or whatever, like there's something available. And yet again, I don't believe that I know what's right for anybody else. So like to each their own.
Right.
But yeah, it is something that can be kind of hard to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you still want to, in some aspect of your life, try alcohol again?
At this stage, I feel really grateful that I can like very staunchly say no.
Yeah.
And I hope to remain there. I hope to continue to take the actions that like day by day will keep me in that spot. I hope I never get curious, and I can't predict the future. Yeah. But so far, once I was exposed to some new tools to use for life for how to be sober and actually started to use the tools, then it was like, this is a way better quality of life. And I will say, the first 90 days sober was like really hard.
Yeah.
Like lonely, confusing. I love the way Chris Williamson, he's quoting other people in his podcast, and there's been clips of it that go all over the internet, and I love it so much. And he talks about that lonely chapter or the messy middle, Yeah. And so maybe yet again, here's my version of it, but that was that, right? Where I wasn't any longer the person that belonged in the rooms that I once hung out in, but I hadn't yet become the person that belonged in the rooms that I'm in now or that I'll be in the future.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of in this chapter of like, all of a sudden now I'm not only grieving the loss of my grandmother for real, but I'm grieving the loss of everything else that no longer has any room for me or I have room for it. And that's really hard.
Yeah.
But after I know it, like it was about the 9-month mark for me of being sober, that I finally was like, oh my gosh, I not only know the girl in the mirror now, but I like her. Yeah. And the idea that I could go from that 9 months prior to don't know her, don't like her, don't trust her, to I even like her. That doesn't mean that I'm not still have all of my own stuff to work on, because I absolutely always do.
Yeah,
I have blind spots like you wouldn't believe. I'm aware of it. Or there are things that I'm not aware of that I'm aware that I'm not aware of. Yeah. Anyway, but that's so cool that like that's not that long. Like look at a lifespan. Oh, gosh, that's a blip, right? And so to undergo the like true discomfort of change, because it's inevitable that it's going to be uncomfy when you choose to change, I wouldn't trade it. Yeah. So no, I don't experience any of that because I love the version of life that I get to experience today. And after 15 years of numbing, I don't want to be numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
Heck, yeah.
So how many days is it right now?
Oh gosh, I don't know, 1,000 something.
Amazing.
I know that, yeah, so it's March 8th right now.
Yeah.
And in April 26th will be 3 years for me. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had like an applause stick, like whatever.
I like a snap. I'm big, like,
okay.
Snap.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I know that's like a huge part of who you are, but that's not everything about you.
Right.
Movement's a huge part of your life. So I'd love to dive into the way you love to move now and how you got to your movement journey where you're at now.
I love this with you because, and I said this on my podcast, I've told it to you before, but I'm just going to say it again. I look up to you. And so no pressure, but it's so cool because I just see, oh, this is something, I'm so glad to be telling you this, and I'll tell you on your podcast. I ordered, I think a couple of bras and a tank top or something in a size medium because it's from LSKD. Shout out LSKD. I love the brand. They're wonderful. And I've been wearing smalls and my freaking lats are growing. And I'm stoked because the bigger your lats get, which by the way, guys, that's the like upper part of your back, like the outer part of your back. And so there's these big wing-like muscles on your back and you grow them and they get bigger. And anyway, then your waist looks smaller. So it's like a hack. Like you don't even have to get a smaller waist. You grow your lats and your waist looks smaller. And who doesn't want that? Anyway, so my lats are getting bigger. And so I ordered mediums and I was like, I have to tell Tara because you made a post not long ago on social media and your whole thing is take up space. Women take up space. And so it was so cool because you don't even sometimes know the seeds that you're planting. And then yet like you helped me in that moment, not just order a small out of default because I've always ordered it historically. It's genuinely tight right there. And I love my body more today than ever before. Whoa.
Yes.
So I'm going to order the medium and see if I like it.
Snap for the medium.
That's so cool.
But also, I don't know. I was like, she was walking up. I was like, girl, your shoulders are looking jacked. I'm like, she's looking so strong.
Thank you.
And I can tell the work you're putting in. And I know we talked on your podcast that like strength is a big piece of, and you want to grow muscles and you're talking about your ass. I'm like, she's getting in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like where are you at on the strength journey? And like how, I love that you thought of me. So thank you for that. But yeah, tell me about like where you're at.
Hey talkers, are you on a journey to feel amazing in your own skin without any pressure or judgment? Well, let me help you fuel up for the ride. Enter Legion Athletics, your new fitness sidekick. These guys aren't just your average supplement company. They're like the supportive coach, you know, Tara, who always has your back, no matter what. Whether you're aiming to feel stronger, more energized, or just a little more badass every day, Legion's got your back. And your biceps, and your abs, and your glutes. Well, you get the picture. Their products, well, let me tell you, they're like a treasure trove of goodness, meticulously crafted to nourish your body and enhance your performance without any unnecessary fillers or fluff. Plus, they taste so good, you'll actually look forward to chugging down your protein shake. And hey, if you're into science, you'll appreciate that Legion's formulas are backed by real research. There's no bro science here, just pure, sweet, sweet gains. So what are you waiting for? Embrace the journey to becoming the best version of yourself with Legion Athletics by your side. Head over to legionathletics.com now and use your code TARATALK for 20% off your first order and double loyalty cashback on every order after. That's TARATALK, TARATALK, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, it's been an obsession. So I also grew up
Good obsession.
This is one that I'm like at peace with. Like if I channel my energy in this area of life, cool. I'm a pretty enthusiastic individual, if you didn't already pick up on that.
Obviously.
We got to stick it somewhere, you know? So fitness, whatever. But I grew up in a family of morbid obesity as well. I hadn't yet touched on that, but that was also a big part of my life. And so although I was a highly active kid, so I was never obese, other family members were, and I saw the impact that it has. And so whenever I got out of high school, I started to gain weight. I had grown up on fried food and I did not play sports growing up, had never gone to a gym. And so when I started to gain weight, I started to notice things I really didn't care for. And so I just remember being like, I can't do this. Like this can't be the road I go on. So I got curious, and it was kind of nutrition first. And you know this, anybody who tries to figure out nutrition, you got to bump into walls. You know, you got to bump into walls on all of it.
Yeah.
And so on both fronts, I've absolutely done that. You know, I then went into binge eating and bulimia at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old because I didn't know how to regulate myself there either. And so I would severe caloric deficits is what I understand was happening today, but I didn't know any better. I was taking advice of people who told me to eat 2 shakes and a quote unquote meal, you know? And so then I would do that. And then eventually I would be so little, I'd have to come out of that, but I didn't know how. And then as soon as I started to eat something I liked, all bets are off. So I think the biggest fluctuation weight-wise that I saw during those years was 122 pounds to 168 pounds in a matter of months. And I had not yet been like working out, right? So that was just like dietary,
Food.
right? So it's been really cool now to have multiple years under my belt of like the most beautiful experience with food that I've ever had. It really gives me hope for people who are struggling with that, right? Then when it comes to movement, I get into the gym. I moved to Norman when I was like right around 21. And that's whenever I first started going to a gym. And it was just like a Gold's Express. And then a couple of years later, I started going to a CrossFit gym because I was going to do with some coworkers of mine at a bar, because of course I worked at a bar. We were going to do an obstacle course race. And I was like, the CrossFit gym will make me do things like running. And I don't do that. And so I planned to just go to prepare for that. And then I was going to go back to my little Gold's Express and do my half-quarter rep squats and all the things. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I was new.
You're still in there though.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And
I'm so proud of all of it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's huge.
But so the obsession with health started at age 18 for me. But that was nutrition focused predominantly. And then I started to want to go to the gym. It kind of is this recurring theme of they had a quality of life that I desired. They had something I wanted. And so it starts with the nutrition side of things, and then it goes into the fitness, in the gym side of things. And eventually, certainly sober people had something I wanted, right? All of these different versions of. Now, hopefully, we're well underway with the business side of things. They have a quality of life that I want on the business front. I want to work on that. Anyway, so getting in the gym, I moved poorly for many years. So bad. But my beginnings, I would say, were really CrossFit, which I have tremendous gratitude for because I would have not sought out Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics, all of these different cycles of running focused of, just you name it, many years of exposure to thought out programming. And shout out to Bryce over at Coda CrossFit because he wrote the programming there and I participated in that for years. And I learned so much there that has informed, like I now get to show up in other spaces.
Yeah.
And the foundation that was built is I just can't say thank you enough because now I get to be like a jack of all trades, right?
Yeah.
And so, however, then I take that and progress that further. And now I am a pain-free performance specialist. That's a certification I've received. I've talked to you about that. And I went and retook it recently. And so the Move Better, Feel Better, I now understand that doing our best to reduce the risk of injury and increase our quality of life through life is very important to me. I'm finally in my 30s and I think about that with training. As much as I want to have fun and throw stuff around and I love doing that, I also want to move well and be able to control things, right? And when I say control things, I mean do shit on purpose. You know what I mean? Be in the movement pattern that I'm in because I meant to be there, not because I just wound up there on accident because I was moving too fast, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a long journey, but definitely what started as, of course, you get involved in it and then you drink the Kool-Aid and you do more and more. And then eventually I'm bathing in the Kool-Aid and I'm just doing more and more intensity and so on. And that it did make my overall fitness base continue to go up. So I have love for all of I love the whole journey.
Right.
But definitely I got to a place where I was doing so much volume and intensity that my body composition was making that obvious. And that's just a lot of stress on the body as well.
Right.
And so it's been really fun these past couple of years to really taper back the volume of that and really uptick all of my strength training, taking rest between sets, actually controlling the movement the entire time, thinking about the full range of motion. And so it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love also the relationship that you have with your CrossFit coach, Bryce. I know who he is now too. Because group fitness is the best way to get into movement because you're around other people. You're around like-minded people. You're around people that want to uplift you. It's like an easy way into fitness. And then ultimately, a lot of those people go into exactly what you're talking about. Become coaches, learn more about their body, do X, Y, and Z. But the catalyst to get you there is a group. And I really do. A group fitness is I have a big heart for it because it's how I started my journey. It's how a lot of clients do. It's it's like the easiest entry. It doesn't feel super intimidating, but it gives you this aspect of oh my God, I can do that. What else can I do? How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And one, with the intimidation, I drove around the block. I went to that gym because a person that I worked with convinced me to go there 3 years prior to me going back. So there was a 3-year stint. I went for a few weeks, a couple days a week, and then I didn't come back for 3 years because it scared me.
Yeah.
I thought they know what they're doing and I don't, because I had no athletic background. And going to a place like that, they know what they're doing. Surely they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so I actually remember driving around the block, looking in the gym, seeing these athletes from my perspective and me not identifying as such for even many years after I finally started to go back.
Yeah.
I still was like, well, I don't know. I'm an idiot,
Yeah.
And I would drive home. It overwhelmed me. So the intimidation actually was really there. But eventually my desperation for what they had got big enough
100%.
that I was like, okay, I'm just going to like go ahead and go. And so I think because you are a fitness professional that I respect tremendously, and I'm so stoked that I get to be a fitness professional today. I'm like, we're there, right?
Yeah.
So what I will say is I know that you'll agree with me in that, like, today, the individual who is unfit, who is scared to be there, who whatever, like, you belong there the most.
Yeah.
And so anybody who is listening to this that maybe feels like they don't belong in the gym, as a couple of girlies that look like we like live, eat, sleep it, because like we kind of do, I could not be more obsessed with your journey.
Yeah.
And I'm so stoked that you're there. And if you're scared, do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
so beautiful. And I really say, I think I said this on yours too. Like, I'll say this everywhere. The people in the gym, the biggest, most muscular people in there, they really are the sweetest, kindest people and want to show you around, because guess what? They were there too.
Mhm.
We all have our own journey. And
Right.
you were like talking about your fitness journey. It's like, oh, it's been a journey and it's going to continuously be one.
Yeah.
Because we are a student of our own bodies. We want to learn more. We want to experience more. And the best part about it is that when you do drink the Kool-Aid and you bathe in the Kool-Aid, you want everyone else to come in the Kool-Aid too.
Mhm.
You know, it's like,
Feel like
come
it.
on.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Well, and I will note too, something that I feel like we also jive with, that you love group fitness. You also have your own individualized goals, and group fitness often is intense, right? Like, it's kind of hard to get a bunch of people together
For sure.
and get them to not like push really hard. Like, they want to do that, right? Which is so wonderful, but being mindful of that nervous system, like we talked about. So I love that you have a hybrid model, if you will, or a blend of it, right?
Yeah.
And I do as well. And I keep seeing more of this, and I want to like advocate for it more. That one, like, movement is medicine, and if we're moving, that's tremendous, right? But from there, the group fitness thing, like, I love what you've done is you're like, hey, listen, guys, I'm going to do my own resistance training in my silo. This is my current goal, whatever. And then a couple of days a week, 1 or 2 days a week, I'm going to go hop in a class, get throttled, get that community. And I love it. And like, that's something that I identify with as well, as far as like right now, my goals mean that I kind of need to do some of my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I still love that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure to fill that cup too. And like, I think the point is that you can do both.
Exactly. You
It doesn't have to be just one or just the other.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, I'm sure you work with people too that like to run or that like to go to classes or whatever. It's like, do those things, but also where can we add in to move better, to feel better?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we do as coaches. And I think that's why I see like so much passion in what you do, is because you really get to help people feel better in their body. And yes, they can still do the things they enjoy, but like, how can we add in things to make those things they enjoy even fucking better?
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is so much
I'm
fun.
just excited to, I don't know, like, I appreciate how much you share. Like, I mean, this is your podcast, so I guess like there is that,
that's
you know,
very sweet.
But I mean, seriously, it's just, it's helpful to people all along the journey. And that's just like, just your willingness to, like, even just what you posted the other day, like, hey guys, just running a test real quick. What do you guys think I weigh?
Oh, yeah.
And then you shared the gamut of what, like, the variety of what what people thought you weighed. And it's just cool because I think that any of your content can mean a lot to somebody who like is at the beginning, is at the very beginning stages. You offer so much value to that individual. And then I think it's just really cool because you offer so much value to the person that's like really far along too. Like, you managed to cover all of it. which is just, it just inspires me.
You're so sweet.
It's
This
true.
is like, oh my gosh, this is about you, girl.
No, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't. We can just collab on the whole thing.
Collaborators. Well, it's just so fun watching you like really bloom into like this coach. It's like,
Yeah.
I heard that you had this like resistance of like saying you're a coach, and where do you think that came from?
Total imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and what is imposter syndrome to you? Though?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, one of the things I will say about imposter syndrome is like, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation, and I have a lot of conversations. If y'all couldn't tell, I also love humans. Like we should talk. Anyway, so I have yet to speak to someone who anything that they've done that they feel is worthwhile didn't have to go through the imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know anybody who got to beeline around it. And so even for you, when you started to finally offer programming and then to finally start to do this podcast, whatever we want to take it back to, anything that you've done in your journey, when starting to create content, changing your content strategy, whatever it is, there were probably, I would imagine, moments in that where it felt this imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah.
And then you just like, I want this bad enough, I'm just going to do it anyway, you know? And so definitely, I don't know that I have like an ultimate definition for but it definitely for me was just, they're going to know that I'm a fraud. They're going to know that I don't belong. I don't belong, you know? And
Who was saying that?
inside of my own brain, that's the conversation with self, right? And by now I'm like, you silly girl, you know, you silly girl. Yeah. But like, I had to continue to take the action to get to the other side of it. And if you get frozen there with the imposter syndrome and you never just do it anyway, you never discover that you did belong anyway. And it's just, if you listen to any of these successful individuals, not just in fitness, but in all sorts of endeavors, they typically will tell you that like, all of these people that are these qualified professionals are all just making shit up to the best of their ability too.
Yeah.
So like, it's just, you know, I think the imposter syndrome is the fear of what everyone else will think and the fear that everybody else will catch on that you don't know what's going on. But I definitely believe that if you care and are willing to work hard, you absolutely belong.
Okay, tell me what you think of this, because I heard this the other day and I was like, I felt it so to the core.
Okay.
This guy said this, and I was like, oh, okay. Let me rephrase. Let me like try and paraphrase this. He said, "I don't worry about what other people think anymore, because that's I always put a negative thought in their head. Really, I am judging those people, judging me. So he's like, I don't think about, why would I think about what other people think of me? I can't hear their thoughts.
Our narrative, our inner narrative is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. If I wander around and I don't get outside of my own brain, then like the storyline I'm going to come up with about what you're thinking and doing is so far from what you're actually thinking.
So far. And also, we are our main characters, right? So it's like, when are you, I'm like, oh, Claire might have thought this about me one day that I said this. It's like, she's not fucking thinking about me.
No. And it's not your responsibility. And if she is thinking anything anyway, then like either she needs to like adult up and communicate to you, or y'all need to just, you know, go along your merry way. I think one of the things that drummed up for me that has been a really cool tool is also when I feel myself having a reaction to someone else or judging someone else for anything, I love the reframe of, what is this telling me about me? I love it. I love it so much. It's been a tool that I've been able to use over the last few years. And so whenever I catch myself in judgment of another individual, I can go, what is that telling me about me? Why am I judging them? And often it's because it's a mirror of something in some way. It reminds me of something I did at some time. That's not always the case. But either way, I think that's really powerful, because then at the end of the day, that gives you agency back. Like, now I can do something like with this, you know?
Yeah.
Now this can be constructive, productive. Whereas if it's just judging others and their fault and whatever else, then like I have no control over that.
Can you give me an example? Do you
Of
have
judgment?
anything recently that happened where you're like, oh, like, why am I thinking that way? And then brought a story back home?
Definitely. I think I'll use this one, which this isn't so much judgment, but this is definitely an inner narrative. And this is also, I'm going to just brag on Jimmy right now, because that's my partner and he's like relatively new. I mean, he's like 6 months in my life, whatever. Anyway, I'm happy he's here and it's been so great. Like, he's been helping me so much with learning so many things, such as like self-regulating. And just because he does a good job of that himself, and he's got such a busy life that finally like I'm getting exposure to just some healthy behaviors that are really nice. Yeah. And so an example, and what I brag on him for is because I talked about codependency on a couple of episodes back on my own podcast with a girl that is very intimately aware of how that unfolds. Great conversation. Anyway, I asked him in advance, like, hey, there's a couple of things in that are pertaining to us I'd love to say on this. And he was like, yeah, use your voice. And so I feel I'm so like, it's so empowering when somebody close proximity to you that you don't want to like negatively impact and you care about is like, use your voice. Like, I'm like,
oh my God,
I can use, okay. You know, so I feel like safe saying this and the next thing, you know, whatever. But an example would be that he does have a very busy life. And I also have a very busy life. Yeah. And I am seeking ways in which to reduce friction for him, make things easier for him and support him. Yeah. Because I'm so proud of all that he does and I admire him. And so I want to just like add value and not stress out. Yeah. Right. And so a few days ago, we had a tough conversation, and it was simply because my narrative told me that, oh, I just have to question my own value here. Yeah. Like if I'm not adding enough value, like basically I got to come to the conversation and say, well, are you here because you want to be here or because you think that you need to check this box, like just so that I'm okay, you know? And that is all about self-worth. Right. Literally that had nothing to do with his thoughts. Yeah. He's there because he wants to be there. Yeah. He's having a conversation with me that's hard because he wants to connect with me. Yeah. And I'm over here going, I'm questioning my value to the extent that I think that you might only be coming around just to appease me. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that even really
absolutely connects
but it's the inner narrative.
Right. And we're making this whole story or this whole like basically a whole storyline in our head that like is not true. And I think it's so beautiful that you have such an open communication with your partner because you're able to talk through this and like have a nice partnership. Like, right, we want that. We want to be able to communicate as much as possible. So,
which you're crushing, by the way. You've been in your relationship for like a decade.
Yeah, you know, we're great. We're great, but it's all about communication. I'm telling you.
I think that
it's all about communication.
Have you had him on as a guest yet?
I have.
You did?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like maybe 4 or 5. It was pretty early on.
Is it already out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go back.
Early on, yeah. I'm gonna do one where he actually interviews me one time too. Maybe we'll rent out. It'll be fun. He's actually my only male podcast guest I've had.
That's funny. If that doesn't speak to like your coaching business being in alignment with where your interests are, that I don't know what does. Yeah. The idea that you've only spoken to, that's hilarious.
I'm like, welcome my male guests. And everyone's like, oh, it's probably Teddy. Yeah.
That reminds me, you know Zach Tellender, right?
Yeah.
Because he goes to On It and he, I think it's in his intros, somewhere in his YouTube videos. It's in his intros. He's always like, welcome, lady and gentleman, you know, or like something along the lines of it's like a singular female word and then plural male.
Because it's his mom, probably.
Yeah, because he's like, there's only one of you. And then I joke as I listen to it and I'm like,
I'm the one.
Hi.
Yeah.
Bro energy.
Is that your YouTube friend?
Zach?
Yeah.
He comes to On It. He's great. I really like his content.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I think it's fun. But I love we're around so many creators. Yeah. Like it's just like Chris Williamson, you know, they are actually like roommates or housemates or whatever they want to call it anyway. And so being introduced to him in person is what turned me to his podcast and I so enjoy it. Yeah. So we're around so many of these, you know, it's just like Cody Sanchez. I didn't know who she was until she was literally my client, which is so crazy. Yeah. And now I'm like obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Her content
is incredible. Talk about badass female energy. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So what is your ideal client? Like who do you like love to work with then?
That's funny. This is the mentor of mine that I was on a call with yesterday literally said the same thing. And I'm like, anybody who wants to move better, feel better, you know? It's so challenging as far as like niching down for me. I think at the end of the day, if an individual wants to improve their quality of life, they want to move better in their body and feel better in it, then that's my demographic. Yeah. That's pretty broad and I'm okay with that right now.
You know what's funny though is you're still fairly new in this industry, right? Like you've been a mover for a long time, but
yeah, and I started receiving certifications for fitness.
yeah,
I think my first one, cert wise, oh gosh, yeah, it's been a long time, and by now it's like, it's in the double digits somewhere. So I definitely was curious and attending things for coaches for many years. And yet again, imposter syndrome, felt like a fraud, would be in the room and be like, I'm the only person who's not actually a fitness professional, but I do want the education. So whatever. So finally actually using it. Yeah. Like the last 2 years.
Yeah. But in the first couple of years as a coach, like I said, you're a mover, you are a student, you are really good about like body awareness and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But like in the beginning, it's like you really do just want to help everyone you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that Jane, who's 37, who's XYZ and has this, you'll be like, that's my fucking person.
Is she your avatar? Is she Jane?
No, Jane.
Oh, okay.
Jane's not it. No,
okay.
not me.
curious.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
about
Yeah. I just didn't know if
John.
maybe we were going to use. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you, and so much. I really can see honestly your person as being someone that was so similar to you,
Mhm.
that has this like recovery and wants to utilize that as a part of their journey.
Yep.
Maybe utilizes like some of your prayer. Like I can see that in you, and I know it's there, but you're also like so eager and excited. So it's like, I will help anyone I can because we want to, and
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like right now, I coach a handful of clients one-to-one in person, which the hybrid model, I think this might be a cool moment to say that like as a coach, I think that I can't be more great for all of the resistance I had to being willing to do that. Right now, I couldn't love it more because getting my hands on people for me, especially as a newbie, really important stuff.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm very grateful for that. But like I have a client in person that is, on a significant weight loss journey. And it's a male who like, this is entirely reminding me of my own father.
Yeah.
And so that is hitting in a totally different way because seeing him be able to do anything that it improves his quality of life, even if it's just get his shoulders to move or be able to get up off of the floor with one leg. I mean, like, oh my gosh. And that's because that's my father, right?
Yeah.
So, but that is funny when I was being asked by that person about what is your avatar or whatever, and I'm like, only thing I think of is like, my clients are like a lot of people in recovery gravitate, we do have that in common. And that's a very, it's not an always thing by any means, but that is a demographic that definitely is there. And I get it.
But everyone needs more coaches and trainers like you. And so it's like, there's always going to be a million trainers and coaches out there. There's only one Claire Svanabay.
What would you say, like, I do want to ask you as far, because the online coaching space is loud and noisy and messy and confusing. And there are truly a lot of online coaches today that have never coached a client.
Yeah.
Like actually, that provide programs and that's it. And so I'm not being hateful to that because I can't imagine if I had a bunch of people dumped into my inbox of opportunity and was given this opportunity. Like, I'm not speaking negatively about anyone who's chosen to do that, but there's something very different about the experience of somebody who like has worked with a bunch of different bodies and really optimized the experience for individuals because we're all different,
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I guess if you were to speak to someone listening, and I guess most of these, they're here because they know you and love you, but what are the priorities that you look for? Because you work with coaches today too, So what are some things that you're like, okay, that's a coach.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's really a difference between a trainer and a coach.
Okay.
There's a difference between someone that just wants to coach people to make money and not. And like we've talked about, fitness is not about making millions. It's because we're so fucking passionate about what we do, about changing lives, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I really do feel like the best type of trainer, it works with many bodies. It works with yourself, works with the people around you, works with people in person, because there's only the best kind of experience. You can get 100 certifications.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to school for 10 years, but if I'm not working with someone in person and see the way their body moves, you're just not going to get the same.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's just how I feel about it. And they can do what they want. People will do what they want, but the best type of trainer has worked with a lot of people. They've been on the gym floor before they've been online, personally.
Yep. I think that I agree with that. And I think what's cool too is that this is not a knock, and there's no reason that you could never decide to go get some on-floor experience. Like if it was somebody that hasn't yet worked with clients. Like,
Yeah.
what if you got uncomfy and did it? You know?
Yeah.
And that's speaking from somebody who I resisted it. That's, I guess, maybe because I get that side of things. And after resisting it, finally doing it, and like the value here.
Oh my God. Listen, I've been out of in-person training for almost 3 years. And I'm like, I gotta get back in person. So I'm like doing a little bit more stuff like with retreats and in-person stuff. And like, how can I see some of my online clients in real life? Because like, I need to like get back into it. And I was on the gym floor for 10 years, but I was like, I gotta touch bodies. That sounds really weird. I gotta see
but I get
bodies
it.
move
I get
again,
yes.
you
I mean,
know?
that's the truth, is literally you do touch their body. So it's yes.
You gotta just see them move again. So I
Yes.
really do feel like there is like this like ebb and flow. You can definitely be a hybrid. You can be an online coach, but like work with people in person too.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just compassion for whatever variation of it, but just to like say that there's, you know, because someone hiring someone online like doesn't really potentially know any better.
Right. Of course.
I mean, typically it's hire based on physique.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation we don't have to get into.
Okay. Just maybe we look a little deeper. That's the point. I'll just leave that there. Let's look a little bit deeper.
Yes.
Yep.
Always look deeper. And I know like, and you're a prime example of someone that has like done the work, taken the certifications, worked with humans in person, are building your own business. Like it takes a lot of work. And I hope you can step back from it and be like, damn, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
I hope you can do that. Are you proud of yourself for where you're at?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah. I have to be for how freaking hard I've worked.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I made a financial dumpster fire along the way. So I'm very much in the middle of the dumpster fire. Like, okay, we're going to put you out sort of over. Like, I mean, like we're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
But I'm at peace with that because I know that I have the work ethic and so on. So like, I'll figure it out. It's fine. Yeah, I do. I am, given how hard I've worked at this and how much of like I care tremendously. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. Yeah.
What's one thing you wish you knew before you started this business?
That you're going to have to work hard and it's not going to be given to you. I thought it was going to just fall in my lap.
Okay.
Because I've done a few different business ventures in my adult life and seen success rapidly.
Okay.
So I figured, surely I'll just do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so what started with the online stuff of like creating content, I was just being funny. I wasn't a coach at all. And then people start to show up. And so I thought, surely, and I'm also from Oklahoma at that time, and like a little bit, like you're a big fish online in a way, And so then I just thought, oh, this will just explode because that's what historically I've done. I opened a business when I was 18 years old and it was successful. And a year later I sold it because I had no idea what I was doing. Thank goodness I did that. And the girl that has it, she's killing it. So grateful about all that. Cool experience. Anyway, did that, did the real estate thing, saw success very rapidly. Right. So I thought, oh, I'll do what I do. I'll make this work so fast, so well. And it's just been humble pie to have to like put in a lot of hours and a lot of effort and really be patient for the reward. But that being said, I would not change, like I would still do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, what would I say to somebody that is going to be, you're kind of going to eat shit for a while.
Yeah. Okay. What would you say? What did you wish you knew before you started your fitness journey?
What do I wish that I knew? I think the biggest thing is I wish I believed people who told me that I could be an athlete. Yeah. Yeah. Because you show up in a place and if you're not somebody who identifies as an athlete or capable or whatever, then you just assume that you're not and you'll never be. At least that was my experience.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I had some belief in self earlier, because once I did finally say, I'm going to go ahead and believe that now and step into that, I got so much better, so much faster. And then with reps comes ease. I now believe in myself enough. I've built up enough momentum doing things well enough that I know that if I just stick around and apply myself a bit of discipline, just continue showing up, it can be imperfect. That's that consistency thing where it's like, the consistency thing means you just have to keep showing up. Like you don't you get to be like a different variation of you every day, but if you just keep showing up, like it's going to work out. So those kinds of things, like, I mean, allowing yourself the space to be human and not show up the same every single day, because that's just unrealistic.
Yeah.
But then also, like, you can do it.
Yeah.
I've got to go find the videos. I mean, my early coaches made fun of me. They were, like, with love, but especially after I like got better, they were like, girl, you remember when you were looking like this? I'm like, I know, guys. I know it was bad. I get it. I know. But as soon as I let myself finally step into some belief in self, just the like hockey stick up of capacity in that domain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Believe in yourself.
Yes.
What do you got to lose, dude?
Snaps for believing in yourself. Where can people find you? Where can people connect with you online?
Yeah. Hanging out with you, because I'm just going to do more of that. So you can probably find us doing like river walks. But other than that, or I guess it's a lake, whatever. Anyway.
It is weird, though.
I don't know.
It's like
looks like a river
Lake,
to me.
but also a river, but also Lake Austin. It's like when the highways, there's 3 names for the same highway. It's Texas.
I don't know. And you're not from here either.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I exist on the internet you can find me when I'm a trainer on a gym in Austin, Texas. So if you're located in Austin and you actually want to work together on improving your movement patterns, moving better, feel better, let me know. Or let Tara know, because she's a badass and I don't know what her journey is with in person, if that's a thing. But like, if you get that opportunity, do that. But anyway, so then from there, Instagram, just at Claire Bays. That's my name, ClaireBays. And then if you go to clairebayscoach.com, that's where they can see all of the coaching stuff. And last but not least, I have a podcast as well. It's called Conversations with Claire. Original AF, I know. But that's where I host conversations like the one I had with Tara, where we just dive into her story and her tidbits. So we just flip the roles over there.
I think it's a cute name, Conversations with Claire.
Works. Yeah.
The Tara Talk it's like,
whatever.
We got to make it
How did you come up with Tara Talk?
You know what? I one day I really want a TED Talk. And so I just like have this like, if I can't be on it, I'm going to create my own.
What will your TED Talk be about?
Empowering women to take up space. Write it down.
Snaps. We're snapping.
We're snapping. I love the snaps.
Okay, I don't see any reason why that can't come to fruition.
Yeah, it's going to. That's why I'm starting with this Tara Talks and having you on.
Okay, getting them reps.
Yeah.
Love it.
Reps.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
This was so wonderful. You guys, please go make sure you follow Claire. I'll tag the episode that we were on in the show notes. And
yes,
thank you so much. It was so beautiful having you.
Absolutely. I'm excited to go consume yours with your husband.
Yeah.
That might be totally random, but like I can't wait, because I want relationships that are successful. Like I want to like learn from you, And so even though it's imperfect, because you're imperfect humans, like you've done a thing for a decade and you're still into it. So like you probably have, I wouldn't mind hearing from the two of you.
All I'm saying is keep showing up for yours, because it sounds like it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you guys.
Thanks for coming to this Tara Talk. I hope you're taking something away from this episode, and if so, I would love to hear about it. You can connect with me at The Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara on Instagram. A few ways you can help support the show and help spread the word. You can share it on Instagram, tag at The Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara. Send an episode to a friend, and please leave a review if the show is resonating with you. It takes just a few minutes, and it means so much to help this show grow, and it helps me to continue to bring on badass guests for all of us to learn and grow from. I am so happy you're here and excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time, be a badass with a good ass.